Hey everybody, I am pretty stoked. Potion was just on Product Hunt yesterday and it got number one product of the day. So first I want to say thank you to everyone who came out and supported my product launch. That was amazing. It was just amazing to see the community kind of come around me and what I've built. So I really appreciate that first off. So what I wanted to do in this video is kind of go over some of the data, some of the analytics around the launch for Potion, and then kind of jump into maybe like my thoughts around why it went well, like what happened, maybe some tips that I have, because I know, there's some people that are probably wanting to launch on Product Hunt. And so I thought I'd just share kind of what I thought went well, just so, maybe it can be helpful to you guys. So here it is, the listing here had about 816 votes on the day of. Now, some more trickling in. But yeah, I think kind of just starting out with the listing here, I think having well, actually, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah, let's just look at the data first. So I just posted this on Twitter. So number one, 812 upvotes. So it drove 2.8K views to the website and then 127 signups. So this is just people that basically started the signup process. They put in their email, but then they dropped off once it got to credit card because 39 continued adding their credit card. So that's kind of normal. Like you'd kind of expect that, people that weren't expecting to have to put their credit card in. That's just kind of how that is with credit card upfront for a 7-day free trial in this case. And 14 websites were created yesterday. People actually took the time to go through and create their website the same day, which is pretty awesome. So this is just for yesterday, and there's been a lot more coming in today. So it'll be cool to kind of see the numbers and how it affects kind of the next couple of days, which is pretty awesome. And then something to note on this 2.8K views is 1,252 of those were directly from Product Hunt, which I thought was kind of interesting. If we actually look at the analytics here on Google Analytics, you can see, so yesterday, so a lot of views were actually coming from direct, which I feel like direct, it's probably like email and things like that, but I don't know. It seems like there's always a lot of just random stuff that goes into direct, a decent amount from Twitter, Google, Indie Hackers, but Product Hunt had, of course, the majority yesterday. So those are kind of the numbers, and I'm pretty, just how I feel about that, I guess. I'm pretty stoked about that. I think it went pretty well. Really excited about it. I was just kind of amazed to get to number one, and kind of take a pretty large lead for number one too. It was kind of interesting. So I, of course, stayed up like all night, only slept 2 hours. And it was just interesting right from the get-go, seeing all these products just jump on the page, all starting out with one vote, and then just seeing them slowly climb. And somehow Potion like almost immediately got 4 votes. And the funny thing was I didn't even upvote my own product, which I didn't know you could do, or probably should have done that. So now kind of going into, I guess, why I think it went well. I think the number one thing why it went well is I've been building Potion for the last, 5 months. And I actually launched it around 4 months ago, actually kind of had early access, had people starting to use it already had around 70 paying customers. So people that already liked the product, already enjoyed using it. I was already getting a lot of good validation there. And so I think there's 2 ways to launch a product on Product Hunt, right? Like you could launch right as you get your MVP done. You probably don't have any customers and just kind of like seeing how it goes. And I think that's a valid way to do that. Like that's, if you want to do that, most likely, I think that won't go as well. Like you won't have as much control of it going well just because you won't have the customers and the people already there that know what you're doing, that are going to want to show up to help and upvote and things like that. So like the second way is more of a growth way, which is what I was trying to do is, after you kind of already have a a stable product that's doing well, you have validation, you already know people like it. Once you're kind of ready, then you launch on Product Hunt. And I think this is a more sure way that you'll do well. So that's what I would advise. I mean, it kind of depends what you want to do, what kind of product you're kind of make. Like for me though, like I know like Potion is my thing. I'm going to work on Potion. I'm going to then try to use Product Hunt to the best that I can, since I know I'm just going to continue working on Potion anyways. So that's kind of was my strategy with it. So I think the other thing that really made Potion do well was that I've been building in public for, a while now, and just trying to like share my learnings and be valuable on Twitter, for, a good while. And I think that's kind of just created a little bit of a community around me where like people want me to succeed. Like they kind of want to have my back, and which is amazing. Like I'm so thankful for that. So I think like that building in public was really what helped, because, I could see a lot of the people that were coming in were familiar faces that, I've interacted with on Twitter and have been following along, and things like that. So I really think, it's kind of like some value in a bank that I was kind of storing up with people, and they you can cash it out, and make an ask for people eventually. But if you're always just asking, that's not going to go very well. Like you need to do a lot of giving, I think, and people will be very glad to come and return, with helping you out, like something like a Product Hunt launch. So I think that was one of the main things. And obviously there's a lot you can't control with a Product Hunt launch. Like you have no idea who's going to launch on the same day. Like if Apple launches, you're probably not going to do that well. And in some ways, I feel like I was a little bit lucky that there wasn't like some ginormous, huge, startup or venture-backed company that was launching the same day, because that would, it'd be harder to get product of the day for that. So yeah, those are some of the reasons. Now, maybe jumping into some of specific details of what I tried to do that I think went pretty well. I mean, it's hard to know sometimes. So one thing, people really seem to like my demo video. It's a 2-minute video. I think something you should do here is make a video specifically for Product Hunt. I tried to specifically, say hello to Product Hunt, like it's for them, right? I think people appreciate that. But I think, this video really does a good job of showing off Potion really quickly. It goes through and kind of shows how it works, shows like the end result of the website you would get. And I think people really liked that. When I actually look at the analytics here, which is interesting, this video only has 221 views. And I think if I can see, should be around here somewhere, I think about half of those are from Product Hunt, which I was kind of surprised. Browse videos, views. I was just looking at the sources here. Yeah, I think about half of them were from Product Hunt, which I was kind of surprised. Like that's a little bit less than I was thinking it would be. But anyways, that is, so that means that, out of all these people that were showing up to this page, not really a ton of them were coming and looking here. I mean, maybe some of the views in YouTube are kind of messed up since this is an embedded video or something. I don't know. But I would have figured maybe more people would be looking at that. But yeah, first of all, I think this YouTube video is really important. Obviously, you want some like clean images that kind of share at a high level what your product does, what it is, because people kind of look through that. So that's, I think, important. This first comment, I think, is really important as well. 22 people upvoted this just to kind of clearly say what you're doing. I think some kind of bullet pointed lists is something that, is easy for people to scan. I tried to point out like these are the kind of things you can do with Potion. So kind of having this format of the problem, the solution, I think that's great for your first comment. The other thing I think is helpful that has been in general with Potion is just having like a showcase, like being able to show off like this is what you can do, and just showing people what's possible. I think is really good with any product, but especially on Product Hunt, people can quickly see like, oh wow, this is what I can do. So calling those kind of things out in your product would definitely be helpful. And then of course, like reply to every single comment. I replied to every comment. Anything that people said, answered their questions, be really active, because I think that Product Hunt probably cares a lot about the comments too. You can see he had 211 I think that probably goes in, the algorithm probably takes that into account when it's putting you in as well. So definitely answer all the comments. That's a good one. Okay, so some of the other things I did just in regards to trying to make this launch go well. First off, I planned it out quite in advance. Like, I had this kind of set up a month ago, and part of that is because my hunter, Cress Mesna, which is the number one hunter on Product Hunt, don't know, scrolling over here, he is like booked. A hunter can only hunt one product a day, and he's, Chris is hunting a product every single day because he's, the number one product hunter. So, getting a good hunter is really important because Chris has like 27,000 followers on Product Hunt, which means that when people see him hunt something, a decent number of those are going to see that product right away if they're interested in following Chris. And so, having a hunter that has some followers is really helpful. So, I mean, that was definitely one of the first things that helped my launch. And so if you can get a good hunter, definitely go for that. And the reason I launched on Monday was just because that was the day Chris was available. Like, I think finding, weekdays are definitely better. More people are going to be on Product Hunt. So definitely try to get a weekday. But other than that, like, I don't think it matters too much as long as you can get the right hunter that you want, because they're I think a big part. So thank you, Chris, for that. That was definitely appreciated for him, having him hunt. So yeah, I kind of let people know, at least on Twitter, that I was going to be launching on Product Hunt a while ago. Like, I kind of was building in public, doing the build in public thing, right? And like sharing my plans, what I was going to try to do on Product Hunt, my strategy behind it, kind of sharing some of these same things I'm sharing now, but beforehand on Twitter, like my strategy. And I think that helped, at least in a way that people knew it was coming. They were kind of expecting it. So I had a group of people that were like ready to jump on my product and help out once they did see that I had launched. So I think that was a good thing. Another thing that helps is getting started early that night before. So I did an all-nighter. 12 p.m. PST is when the product launches. So you kind of have to be ready for that. And, you want to get up there to the top right from the get-go so that people that start seeing Product Hunt are going to see those top products and hopefully check it out. And so, there's a couple ways you can do that. I had a list of contacts for Potion that, people that have tried out Potion in the past. I had about 700 people on that list, that email list. And so I emailed out to them. You can see I have a bit more now on that email list. But I emailed out the 700 and say, hey, I'm actually launching on Product Hunt. Could you check it out? So I think, if you have an email list, that's a great time to send out an email, is like right at the beginning of the day. And that's kind of when I had a jump and went to number one almost right away after I did that. I also had have an email list for Notion specifically called Notion Weekly, where I just kind of share updates about Notion. And there's about 300 people on that list. So I emailed them right after that and asked them if they could upvote. So that was another thing I think it helped. Obviously, making a post on Twitter, if you have a little following on Twitter, that can really help. My post on Twitter went really well. 267 likes, 53 retweets. People were just sharing and being really helpful. Almost 90,000 impressions. So, I think this tweet alone, I think, probably caused a lot of, Product Hunt going well. And obviously, you never know, like, if this is going to go well. But again, I think this kind of goes back to people were wanting to help, which I really appreciate. I'm so thankful for, just because I had been public on Twitter, sharing and trying to give value as much as I could. So I think that was definitely a big part of it. Another kind of little hack you can do, you can see, add your profile. This, Court Haynes told me about this great idea, is just basically point everyone to Product Hunt. So in your profile here, I also did this on the Potion So Twitter account. Point everyone to your Product Hunt listing, because that's where you want everyone to go that day. I need to update this, don't I? So that was something I did. The next thing I did that actually probably really helped, probably like the next 2 hours after launching, was I just went back through my DMs on Twitter and just anyone I had a conversation with, in the last month. Basically my most recent like 50, 75 DMs, because I chat a bit with people online. And so people that I don't maybe know that well, but we've at least had a conversation, and I would message and be like, hey, just launch on Product Hunt. Could you go support me? And I think that was a huge driver, because probably more than 50% of those people ended up going and leaving comments on the page and stuff like that. So that was huge. So definitely, it's almost like creating that, pushing the ball up the hill before the Product Hunt launch, having all these relationships so that once the day comes, you can now kind of just push it down the hill. And that was amazing. All those people that I DM'd, a lot of them like retweeted the tweet and shared the listing. So that was really helpful. I also noticed it helps to have people in different time zones, because especially in the beginning, none of the US is really awake yet, right? Like at the first day of the Product Hunt launch. So if you have friends in other countries, different time zones, that can kind of help you as they kind of push your product to get it started at the beginning of the day. Let's see what else went well here. Kind of showed the videos, kind of showed oh yeah, so the other thing that you can do, after you've done the DMs to people the relationships you have, then it's posting on some communities. I posted in a Notion Facebook group that has like 20,000. I posted in some Slack communities, some entrepreneur friends that I have. So find some communities that make sense for your niche. Hopefully you've already been active in these communities, because then people are going to more likely, pay attention if they kind of know you. So I've been kind of active in some of these communities for a while, so that definitely helps, instead of it just being like your first message to the community is, doing an ask, kind of same idea. So that was something that I did that I think definitely got some hits. And then I also did a post on indie hackers that did decently well. Let's go check that out real quick. And then I did a post on a subreddit, the SaaS subreddit. That also did pretty well. I think it got like 30 upvotes. Here we go. Oh yeah, this reminds me. This is another good thing you should do, is basically make some kind of post about kind of the history of your product and just showing the timeline. And so I made this post on Indie Hackers, but I also posted this on Twitter, and that did pretty well. So people were commenting on this and talking about going and upvoting on Product Hunt. So just trying to give some value to people will go a long way, and you sharing what you're doing, I think, really helps. So making some kind of post like this, I actually did the same post on the SaaS subreddit, and yeah, that got a lot of votes. I think that helped, and people were replying saying like, hey, I checked out your product and upvoted or whatever. So that was pretty awesome. Okay, the last thing I did, which I think went pretty well, is I did a Twitter space on Twitter, and I kind of had, let's see if we can find the tweet about that. I had kind of lined up some different creators, makers. Here we go. So like Mary, Andrew Warner, and some people just kind of in the maker space, and kind of set up like a 2-hour-long Twitter space with them, and having some bigger like creators in a Twitter space will get more people coming in. So I think at one point we had like 70 or 80 people in the Twitter space, and I wasn't talking all about myself. It was more talking about other makers and their journey. But people would kind of see like what I was up to and see that I was launching on Product Hunt, and I think that definitely kind of drove people to the page as well, and just made kind of some discussion around it. We definitely talked about how it was doing a little bit in the Twitter space, so that I think really worked well. And Corey Haynes, again, he had that idea, so thank you for that. But yeah, I think that's another good idea. Like create some kind of event around your Product Hunt launch where, maybe some more eyeballs will come from that. So yeah, that was pretty much it. I don't think I'm missing anything. Maybe I'll write kind of like a blog post to kind of document this as well, but I was hoping this video would be a good start. And let me know if you have any questions. You can follow me on Twitter, Noah W. Bragg, or you can just reply to this video if you have questions. But thanks for watching.